Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at noon.
New at noon, a 19-year-old Jamestown man is in jail for running from police during a traffic stop, resulting in an officer getting hurt. Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Jordan Schreier. NewsDakota.com is reporting police tried to stop Christian Moore around 9:30, but he kept going. He eventually ditched his car and then took off running. After a brief chase, Moore was arrested. One officer was injured during that chase, but is expected to be okay. Moore is now being charged with possession of drug paraphernalia, driving with a suspended license, failure to halt, fleeing in a motor vehicle, and reckless driving. Also new at noon, authorities in the area are looking for a stolen crane. This morning, the Cass County Sheriff's Office put out this picture requesting information. Now, if you have seen this crane around, you are urged to call 701-241-5873. This morning, it was very chilly out there, and it's not a whole lot warmer now, although it is slightly, I guess. But for what we can expect for the rest of our weather today, let's check in with meteorologist Lisa Green.
Well, this afternoon, it is quite chilly. Temperatures are stuck in the 30s in most locations right now. In fact, all locations. And one spot still at the freezing mark. That's Valley City at 32 degrees. So very tough to warm up here this afternoon. It's 37 in Fargo, 38 in Grand Forks. That is the warm spot, relatively speaking, of course, in that Grand Forks area, seeing 38 degrees. And wind speeds, they're gusting into the 20s, so the wind isn't completely gone from us, but it's just not as bad as it was the last couple of days. We have gusts coming in out of the north or northwest, just keeping those temperatures down. And you can see there are places where we're clearing out over by Devil's Lake. Fargo stuck in the clouds, so is Lakes Country. Grand Forks, you're about to see things. If it's not already brightening up for you right now, you're about to see those skies clear a little bit more and some breaks in the clouds. And beyond, we just missed out on some rain and snow showers that just barely passed us to the south and west. Here's a preview of our forecast coming up for later this week. We're going to talk about what our chances are for rain and snow coming up in just a little bit and take a look at that warm up too that we have in the forecast.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. A reminder to watch out for deer on the roads. A woman in Hubbard County, Minnesota had to be taken to the hospital after hitting one with her car. State Patrol says it happened this morning around 7. The woman from Monaga had to be taken to the hospital for her injuries, but she is expected to be okay. Officials with Game and Fish say deer are more active this time of year around dawn and dusk. And while it may seem against common sense, you should not swerve to avoid hitting a deer. That could put you at risk of hitting an oncoming car or rolling in the ditch, resulting in more injuries and damages. Fire crews are investigating a hazardous materials spill in West Fargo. They got the call just after 2 this morning from XPO Logistics on the city's north side. The spill happened in the 1700 block of 2nd Avenue Northwest. The chemical was reportedly calcium chloride, which can cause breathing problems and skin burns. Crews work to keep any hazardous material from getting into city drains. There's no word on any injuries or evacuations. U.S. forces will now withdraw from northern Syria. This news came today after President Donald Trump briefed the nation on that ever-changing situation. According to the president, the Turkish government said that they would be stopping their offensive in Syria. In response, the White House will now lift all sanctions against Turkey. Turkey and Russia have now made a deal to patrol that border.
By the moves that we've made, we are achieving a much more peaceful and stable area between Turkey and Syria, including a 20-mile wide safe zone. An interesting term, safe zone. That's the term we're using. Hopefully, that zone will become safe.
Many Democrats and some Republicans have been very critical of the president over his handling of this situation. Right now, police in England are in the process of identifying 39 bodies found in the back of a truck container. The truck is believed to have come from Bulgaria and was found today 25 miles east of London. A 25-year-old man from Northern Ireland has been arrested on suspicion of murder. He is still in jail at this time, and he has not been formally charged or identified. A Wisconsin family now knows who killed an 18-year-old teenager back in the 1980s. Tracy Hammerberg's killer was identified using DNA evidence from an ancestry site. Ben Jordan has how police narrowed in on the killer.
After almost 35 years, we had found the person that had brutally raped, strangled, and bludgeoned Tracy Hammerberg to death.
Ozaukee County Sheriff Jim Johnson admits a man named Philip Cross wasn't even a suspect in this cold case until just a few months ago. Johnson says forensic scientists used DNA evidence from Tracy Hammerberg's body and compared it to public genealogy databases that thousands of people use to learn about their family history.
The closest relative identified through the databases was a second cousin.
Johnson says investigators spent months creating a family tree going back several generations, eventually matching that DNA to Cross, who was 21 years old at the time of the murder. In December of 1984, Tracy Hammerberg left to go to a party and she never returned home.
Tracy's body was discovered naked from the waist down.
An autopsy revealed the 18-year-old was raped and died from severe blows to her head. The Ozaukee County Sheriff says Cross's job put him in the area where Hammerberg was that night.
Cross's second shift employment at Rexnord would allow him to be in the Port Washington area at the time that Tracy left on foot from her friend's residence.
While Johnson is pleased this cold case is solved after 3 decades, he wishes Cross were still alive to be held accountable.
We had mixed feelings on it. I wanted him to face greater justice. He stole Tracy's life. He was able to live the life that he wanted his way.
Johnson says Cross died in a drug overdose in Milwaukee about 7 years ago. In our consumer alert this afternoon, Miller Coors wants to hook you up with a free beer, but the reason behind it isn't what you might expect. The beer company is reviving the It's Miller Time slogan and is asking people to unfollow them on social media as a way to get them to spend more time with family and friends. The brewer says it got the idea after learning half of all drinkers aged 21 to 27 say they meet with their friends fewer than a few times a month. To find out how you can get in on this deal, just go to valleynewslive.com and click on this story.